I'll give you a hint. Yeah. There's two.
Here it is. Revs are up, gates down.
Your adrenaline is just maxed out. That gives me goosebumps.
It is on right now. MAV TV live coverage. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross.
The toughest competitors in the country.
Wheel to wheel over the finish. Sexton putting in a charge.
Oh. The adrenaline's got to be 1,000% for these drivers. They have to settle into rhythm almost immediately.
Battle for the lead is on. He wins the first moto here in California.
Hudson O'Neal is now a Show Me 100 winner at Lucas Oil Speedway.
You know, if that doesn't get your Jones going, Freak Nation, I don't know what the hell does. My goodness, Davey Coombs, synonymous with, all right, let's just be honest with you, Freak Nation, outdoor motocross joining us here in the Freak Nation. I would imagine that you're about goosebumped out by now, Davey, or are you?
Well, I'm actually, and thanks, Kenny, and hey, Crash. I'm sitting trackside here in the MX Sports Pro Racing rig. We're about, I'd say 50 yards away from the starting gate here at Fox Raceway at Pala in Southern California. We just finished a 4-hour private ride day for all the pre-entered pros. Mm-hmm. And the season hasn't started yet, but now the real countdown is upon us.
Yes. Well, what's so great about this, Davey, is the kickoff for the 2022 outdoor season. It's part of this All-American weekend that we've got with MAV TV. And one of the pillars, of course, is motocross, MAV TV. We're happy to have motocross live on MAV TV this year, all 4 motos. It's just going to be extremely badass. But the fact that we're kicking it off in Southern California, you and I could go back and forth on our love of history of motocross coming from Europe to the 70s with Marty Smith and Jimmy Ellis and why. Let's don't do that, okay? I want to talk about what's going on this weekend and how you're part of this All-American weekend and really how special this is for you, someone that's championed outdoor motocross for so many years.
Well, I grew up in the sport. You know, my parents were promoters. They had their first motocross race actually in 1972, which was the first year for this series. They didn't get involved with the series until the 74 season, but we've had a national every year since. And as we lived and worked and raced in the sport, we just kept taking on more roles and more responsibilities. After my own very, very brief professional career, I became a journalist. And then, you know, my dad had come up with a lot of really good ideas and really became sort of a leader in the industry. And when he passed away in 1998, he was kind of running the Pro Motocross series. And so my sister and I stepped up with made it into even more of a family business. And now we're lucky enough to work with 12 great promoters all over the country. If you'd have told me 15 years ago that I'd be in Southern California getting ready to open the Pro Motocross season in the 50th year of it, I never would have believed you. I'd asked you, like, yeah, you mean buying a ticket and getting a pit pass? but the way it worked out, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Hard work pays off. Work hard, play hard, which is just kind of the mantra of motocross anyway. But so how surreal is this really? We're talking 50 years of history. I saw there's this special pullout in the program edition or something that I read about. Tell me about that and how surreal this is for you as you are walking the grounds today.
Well, the cool thing is, I like I said, I grew up a historian for motocross, and you know my very first favorite rider was Marty Smith. And I was a little kid, and over the years I would, you know, I knew all of his records. I knew how many times he won. I knew what number he was. And then, you know, when Marty was done, it became Ricky Johnson. And when Ricky was done, it became Jean-Michel Bale. And I just, you know, I always been, you know, a student of it. And so when we decided that we were going to do a big celebration for this 50th anniversary to celebrate the history of the sport, I was like, hey, I can write all this stuff off the top of my head. I've got every magazine that was ever printed. I've got every cycle news. I buy a bunch of old photographers' archives and try to share them with the world. So it was like a homework assignment for me, and the easiest, best homework assignment anyone ever gave me, preparing for 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross.
You have bought photographer archives. That is just beyond badass.
It's a way to perpetuate the history of the sport. You know, you have to remember, I'm also, my real job is I'm the publisher of Racer X Illustrated, the magazine. And every day we're looking for content. And it started when Scott Wallenberg brought the old MXA editor, Dick Miller, out to a race. And he said, you know, I've been retired for a while, but I've got a bunch of old photos that are just collected dust. And he let me have a look at them, and I was like, holy smokes. It was literally the 1970s when I was too young to operate a camera. And so we were able to, you know, we have a giant archive back in Morgantown, West Virginia, where MX Sports Pro Racing and Racer X Illustrated are located. And I feel like it's my responsibility to remember all of our past champions, remember all of our past promoters, remember all of our past events. And if that makes me the keeper of the flame, I'll volunteer. I'll take that job.
Davey Coombs, who in the world had a Brad Lackey poster with a WFO sticker in the lower left-hand corner with Lackey doing a little bit of cross-up? Yes, I did.
Yeah, and I remember you could buy those posters. Yes. You know, there was a Jim Pomeroy lofting his Bull Taco down the Carlsbad drop-off, and you know, Heike Mikkola, you know, the flying fin. And yeah, I had all that stuff too. And what's crazy, Kenny, is I still have all that stuff.
Yep. Is it crazy or just stupid?
No, it's great. It's great.
I don't want to leave this. My daughter, she's got Skinnerd and Priest and Marty Smith and Ellis. She has all that crap to deal with when I crap the bed.
Well, when I was a kid, my brother and I collected baseball cards, and we made the mistake of turning our bicycles into motorcycles by putting those baseball cards on, you know, clothespins, and that way you get the sound. And one day my mom came out and said, congratulations, that was a Roberto Clemente rookie card. And if I had that card now, so I don't know that a Bob Hanna trading card's ever going to be worth my kids' college education. But just in case, I've got it.
You know what? Thank goodness that card is destroyed, because we wouldn't have Racer X. We wouldn't have all of these archives preserved for this 50th year if that were the case. Yay. Sorry, not sorry.
The minutia of it all, the stickers, the pit passes, the posters. You know, when you can't afford to have an exotic old bike collection like some very, very lucky people do, that's the next best thing. And so, you know, I consider myself a historian and maybe even a professor of motocross history. And so it fits perfectly with a 50th anniversary like this. And so you're going to see us roll out all kinds of fun stuff. The poster was just the first thing. We have event stickers this year that the first round is the first champion, Gary Jones. The second round is number 2, Ryan Villopoto. The third round is number 3, Jeff Ward. The fourth round is, of course, Ricky Carmichael, and on and on. We have we're having a revolving booth. I'm sure you guys have heard about this in the studios of MAV TV, that we're going to bring back a different champion or two to be the color co-host with Jason Wygand. And on Saturday, man, what more better Californians could you get than Ricky Johnson and Jeremy McGrath? So they're going to be in the booth with Weege. I'm not nervous about it, but I know Weege is. He's going to be so starstruck. But there'll be a lot of fun to listen to. And then when we get to the last round, the 12th round here in Southern California, David Bailey is coming back to the booth. And I wanted him to do the first one, but he's going through a shoulder injury right now, so he'll be watching with everyone else in the world. But David Bailey to close out 50 years, and people in the middle like Ryan Villopoto, I'm drawing a bank. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael. And we only
Chad Reed.
Chad Reed's the one person,
Oh.
actually one of two people who said no. And the reason is Chad wants to focus on the pro motocross combines that he's involved in that we do.
Yep.
We bring up new talent. But the other one was Travis Pastrana. And Travis is like, oh, man, I would love to do it, but I'm so busy that any off weekend I get, I'm spending it with my kids at home in Annapolis, Maryland, and I don't blame them one bit.
Nope, not at all.
Freak Nation, Davey Coombs joining us here in the Freak Nation. And you were talking about where you were writing stories and finding stories, and, of course, the Racer X Online. Two stories that have developed over the last, 2 or 3 months. You have Tony Caroli coming over, and then Ryan Dungey saying, you know what, let me see if this old gas tank has some new blood in it to come out and kick some ass. Regardless of how these dudes do on the track, those are two stories that carry a lot of weight, Davey Coombs.
Absolutely. And, I found out that this was happening in the weirdest way. One of the people from KTM had, let us know that unfortunately Cooper Webb, who's a past 250 pro motocross champion and a multi-time supercross champion, was going to be taking the summer off. And so, he's been injured and he wants to get ready for Supercross 2023 and come back 100% next year. And we were pretty bummed about that. And then he said, but I have a question. Is anyone using number 222 this summer? And is anyone using number 5? And we were like, okay, 222, Tony Caroli.
Yep.
Really? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, but why would number 5? Who would want to use number? And I'm like, wait a minute. Ryan Dungey is coming back? And they said, yep, they're both coming. So it's been, if someone would have told me a month ago that we would have Caroli and Dungey, a couple 9-time champions, Caroli 9-time world champion, Dungey 9-time AMA champion, on either side of the doghouse on the starting gate, I would have wondered if you'd gotten into the limoncello a little early. But out there today, they're riding, and I got to tell you guys, and Crash, you'll love this. Ken Roxon is here too. Roxon and Caroli were teammates at KTM back in Italy and in Germany in 2011, and their kids are the same age. So Roxon goes over to the KTM pit, and his kids are running around with Tony Caroli's little kid. And then Dungey's over there, and then Marvin Muscan, who's not racing this summer, shows up. And it's like all this talent under this tent. And all I could think of is, man, I cannot believe my phone's back in the truck, because to have a photo of little Caroli, little Roxon, and then standing there kind of just hovering above it all, Roger DeCoster.
No,
It was a neat moment where I was thinking, man, those are 5 of the greatest motocrossers ever. Just hanging out in the sand here at Fox Raceway.
I might have said, Ken, give me your phone. Give me your phone. And I'm going to text myself this picture.
What's funny is the guy that I was standing next to, I looked at him, I said, you might want to get a photo of this, was Trevor Nelson, who works for Motocross Action, who's our magazine competitor. And I didn't care. I thought someone's got to get this photo. Someone's got to get this photo. It was super cool. So yeah, the story of not only Caroli coming over here after his, I don't even want to say Hall of Fame MXGP career. I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore, if they have one of those, of European motocross, along with like Stefan Everts and Roger DeCoster, and then to have Dungey, who would certainly be a candidate here for the motocross Rushmore. To have them both at the same time just decide, hey, let's go back to racing. It's a perfect storyline for 50 years of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. And to also have like Ken Roxon healthy, to have Jason Anderson riding better than he ever has, to have Chase Sexton ready to really take the next step for Team Honda. That's just the 450 class. A lot of really good things happening right now.
Speaking of health, any status update on Eli Tomac and his knee?
Well, Eli was not here today, and that caused alarm bells everywhere. Like, how's he doing? How's he doing? And his team manager at Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Jeremy Coker, said, "Oh, he just wasn't coming. He'll be here Friday." No big deal. And if you know Eli, he does things his own way. He and his father have a really good program. And I know that he may not be riding here today, but he's riding somewhere in the mountains of Cortez, Colorado, and he'll be ready come Saturday. But he got hurt on his way to clinching the Supercross championship. Actually did the last couple rounds that he participated in before he got the title with a bit of a knee injury, and he just wanted to take a month off, and his month ends on Saturday.
Oh, jeez. So all these names that we've been talking about, I mean, it is just legend after legend in the making. So what do you see? How can you foreshadow, even though it's just kind of shooting in the dark right now, what do you see come Saturday at Paula?
Well, I first of all, I think we all win, no matter who, whether it's Tony Cairoli showing us all up, or Ryan Dungey showing that after 5.5 years he still got it, or Jason Anderson showing that he feels like he should have been the Supercross champ this year, or Eli Tomac just reminding everyone of what beast mode really is. We're all going to win. I wouldn't want to pick a winner, but man, Ken Roczen looks like the old Kenny Roczen. And by that I mean carefree, looks healthy, outgoing, done a lot of testing. His Supercross season ended early because he had to get some stuff sorted out.
Right.
Fingers crossed, I think number 94 has got it sorted out. So he's my dark horse, I would say. And then the 250 class, I don't see how anybody could pick. You could take the whole field, and someone else could take the Lawrence brothers, and you might get third, fourth, and all the way back to 40th because the Lawrence brothers look fantastic out there today.
Why are we not talking about Dylan?
Well, that's a it was weird to see Dylan with his number one out there today, because I was used to it when he was racing, 250 Supercross, 250 Pro Motocross. I think that Dylan had a weird Supercross year and kind of took himself off the map. If you remember, Kenny, he pulled out early, and I think it was to get ready for Pro Motocross, but he didn't ride real fast today. But I absolutely am not counting him out. It's such a neat story with these other guys coming back. But if Dylan goes out and does what Dylan did in 2021, 1-1 would be no surprise.
For the 50th anniversary of Pro Motocross, outdoor motocross, is there anything different with the tracks? Are the layout the same? Is there something that you might be implementing that back in the 80s had this?
I wish there was an easy answer to that, and I could say, yeah, everything's in a figure eight, or there's a tail jump. But one thing that we wanted to make sure that we don't do this year, Kenny, is take away from the current year of racing. And they're racing 2022, state-of-the-art motorcycles. As neat as it would be to put in some old obstacles, if you put in what constituted a double jump, or a triple jump, whether it's Supercross or motocross, what constituted that in the 1980s? These guys would land out on the freeway. A modern 450 motorcycle, you can't really go back in time and make that bike work on that track. They'd be going 100 miles an hour. So that's the long answer. We put the wall turn in at High Point last year where they bounce off the old trees. And, the Unadilla still has a screw you in the gravity cavity. We always try to remember our history, but we also try to evolve. And, I don't know what we could have done, because I don't think grass is going to grow out there here at Fox Raceway. We can't do a Unadilla. And we've got a neat backdrop, but it does not look like the peristyle at the Los Angeles Coliseum.
Damn it.
But I guarantee you the dirt's going to be better than Carlsbad.
Oh, my. You call that dirt?
Sand, yeah.
My goodness, sand and rock and body parts, man.
Oh, okay.
What the hell it was. Hey, and are you feeling the vibe? Are people picking up on this with, again, a new TV contract with MAV TV? There's no way that you're going to miss any moto. It's the 50th. You have these other backstories. Are you feeling the vibe that we may see more people, hugging the fences in these races?
I sure hope so. But honestly, last year was such a wonderful surprise for us. We would come out of COVID, the restrictions went away, and after, just like Feld Motorsports struggled through finishing 2020, they didn't get to open the stadiums in 2021 the way we did last summer, and we had a banner year. by all accounts, we're gonna better that this year. The cool thing about, and I hate to say there's a silver lining to what we've gone through the last couple of years, but one thing that did happen is a lot of people got in touch with the things they used to love to do growing up. And for a lot of people, that was ride dirt bikes, ride electric bicycles or mountain bikes, BMX. And we're seeing that visited on how many people are buying new mountain bikes, how many people are buying electric bicycles, how many people are buying Stasics for their kids, and how many people are getting back to their motocross roots. The numbers look really good. The ticket sales are fantastic. And I can't underestimate how important it is to have Ryan Dungey back, Tony Cairoli here, and guys like Roxon and Dylan and Jason Anderson and Chase Sexton and Eli Tomac, all those guys out there. It's going to be a good summer for pro motocross.
Never be ashamed of saying there was a silver lining to COVID, because honest to goodness, yes, there were horrible things about it, but there were so many positives. And yeah, getting back to your roots, and it brings a whole new meaning to the motocross hashtag. Let's take it outside. It's just, let's get back to roots. Let's just have fun. Let's get together as family and friends and do things we love. It's just, it's perfect to see it again. So never feel ashamed to say that, because that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
And a big motocross race is the perfect outlet for your family. Whenever you couldn't go to the movies, you couldn't go to the basketball game, you couldn't do a lot of things in public, but the great outdoors. I mean, there's no better way to social distance than to come out to the dirt bike race, ride pit bikes, and hang out with your family. And we've seen, and also, I know that camping, got a massive boost because people started doing things as a family because, they got back to that. So, whether it's RV sales, dirt bike sales, bicycle sales, I imagine boat sales. I don't know enough about that, but we're in a good spot to have a great summer and have 12 great rounds of pro motocross.
Like I said, Davey, we could go round and round talking about the history, and you'd school me on every asset when it comes to, especially the outdoor season. But from two dudes that were raised with the outdoors, I get Supercross. I understand the appeal. I get all that. But to watch pro riders get out of second gear and open and pin it for 4 or 5 seconds, that's my Jones of just watching them get at 5-6 stories tall. Cool. But being able to get into 4th and 5th gear and open that bad boy up, that's my Jones.
Yeah. And we saw that today. This is the first time that, obviously it wasn't a race today. It was just a private gathering for anyone who's pre-entered. And we had, 50 riders in either class. But it's the first time you get to see someone go really fast. I went to several Supercrosses this year. To your point, Kenny, it's more of a ballet. It's a totally different form of racing. It's a wonderful form of racing, but it doesn't really have the same vibe or feel as pro motocross does, simply because of the speed, the sound, the dust, the ruggedness of it. They both take incredible skill. But today was the first time we saw people go really fast in a year. And, man, it's going to be a barn burner in either class. And one thing I forgot about, and you asked about how, if anyone's doing anything special. Well, this race also happens to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the Honda Elsinore CR250, which was a massively game-changing motorcycle. So Team Honda and everyone at American Honda are going retro. They're dressing up as Gary Jones in 1973. They've got really cool livery for their bikes. They're going to have a get together on Friday evening, sort of a pre-race party at one of the local wineries, and you're going to have the brass out as well as a bunch of their past legends. They're also going to be introducing something. We don't know what. But I'm looking forward to it. But to see everyone in Team Honda wearing those white, blue and red shirts that Gary Jones's mom designed in 1973, it's going to be pretty cool. So that's something else to keep an eye on. Plus, I could see Team Honda sweeping both classes on Saturday. One of the Lawrence brothers and either Chase Sexton or Kenny Roxon. And I already told you, I personally think Roxon.
Mm-hmm. I hope that actually fires up maybe some other manufacturers or just other sponsors to do something similar throughout the season. That would be fun.
Yeah, and it coincides with the introduction. The first Honda to ever ride in a pro motocross race. I'm going to show you how much of a geek I am. It was actually a desert racer named Gene Kennedy, and on December 3rd, 1972, he entered a 4-stroke desert bike in the Saddleback Trans Am, the end of the 1972 Trans Am A Series, and he got 14th.
Wow.
I think that may have been last, and because he was only 14th American, but it was Honda's entry, and as humble and as strange as that sounds, within a year they had the championship, they had the Elsinore, and they really put it to the coals, and have not let off ever since. So the timing for this year works out for Honda, but anything that Kawasaki, KTM, Suzuki, Husqvarna, Yamaha, anything that they do, here's the stage, and we'd love to share it with everyone watching on MAV TV and MAV TV Plus.
I'm sure like I was it 2020 when we lost this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, having a 50th anniversary without Marty Smith. It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
It is. And, I'll never forget where I was when I got the news in April of 2020. It was Steve Wise sent me a text and said, "Hey, get your prayers on. There's something bad happened." And I can't tell you what it is, but, and not long later, I found out that Marty and Mary had been in that dune buggy accident. And like I said, he was my hero growing up. I was lucky enough to, get to hang out with him. I would always get one of the funny things, and when you're an old motocross star, whether you're Brad Lackey, Gary Jones, Marty Smith, it gets harder and harder to get tickets and passes as you get older, because the guy working the snack or the front gate doesn't know you from Adam's house cat sometimes. And so I passed a policy where if you were a past champion, you got a credential every year. And so I would call Marty, and we'd have just the best. I'm like, "Hey man, make sure you fill out your thing." He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it out this year, but I appreciate it." And I'd send him his hard card, and I think he was collecting them. And so when Marty passed, one of the things that we did was we decided to name our Rookie of the Year award the Marty Smith Rookie of the Year, because in 1974, when Marty rode his first national, he was the ultimate Rookie of the Year. He went out and won. He went out and won the championship. He was the first 125 national champion. He was the second 125 national champion. And so to have his name affiliated with the series like that, and what the other really cool thing is that the winner of the first Marty Smith Rookie of the Year was Jet Lawrence. And the next year, he won the Gary Jones Cup as the 250 national champion.
Oh, wow.
So and if you're wondering, our 450 championship is called the Edison Dye Cup, and none of us would be here. And I should say the Pro Motocross Series started in 1972, but if it had not been for Edison Dye in the 1960s, what he did with Torsten Hallman and Joel Robert and Roger DeCoster and Gunnar Lindstrom, bringing those guys over for his Inter-Am Tour, none of this would be here. The foundations of American motocross go long before this series, long before Supercross. And so we remember Edison with that trophy as well. And one day when we get a 450 Rookie of the Year thing going, I'd love to call it the Brad Lackey Cup.
Yes. Oh gosh.
You're not even having beers, but I feel like I'm sitting at a bar having fun with Davey Coombs right now. I love your knowledge. It is spectacular.
Bonkers.
Yes.
I was lucky enough to grow up in a motocross family. That meant a lot of hard work. I guarantee you I've picked up more garbage than most people will probably ever know, and pounded in more banners and stakes and picked up more tear-offs. But man, any job at the motocross track is a great job. And I've just been lucky enough to carve out me and my family and all the people that we are lucky enough to work with, from Tim Cotter, who really kind of runs the day-to-day for MX Sports in the Loretta Lynn's program, to John Ayers and his family, and to everyone who works, on our staff, everyone who works on the official staff. We're so lucky. We get to play motocross every day. It'd be like being the commissioner of baseball, just not baseball.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. A little better, but don't tell those stick and ball people that. Yeah.
Forget who it was we had on lately. It might have been we were at the Supercross finals where I brought up WFO, and he kind of looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" And I just went, "Oh, please."
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Hey, Crasher, let's tweet this link out to this article. It's a great article and background on Davey's old man and really how all this madness started. It is
nice.
What is this, about 3 or 4 year old? Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, and that photo is from the 1977 High Point National, and he's talking to Tony DiStefano in the middle, and the guy next to him is Mark Blackwell, who was the 1971 de facto AMA national champion. That was before they had a pro motocross series. Mark was the high point scorer in the 71 Trans AMA series. He would finished 1 point better than Brad Lackey, who was 16 at the time. And they were lifelong friends of my father. And that was his first pro national, 1977 at High Point.
Look at that shot. Oh, my gosh.
That is the riders meeting at the Blackwater 100, which was another invention of his. It was based entirely and admittedly on the Lake Elsinore Grand Prix that he saw in the movie On Any Sunday. Yes. And he copied it. But he copied it in the streets of Davis, West Virginia. And from that event came the Grand National Cross Country Series, which is the largest off-road series in the world still. Dad was he was quite a innovator, an entrepreneur. But the truth is that that's Dad and Mom and Steve Stackable at the 74 Appalachia Lake National. Anyway, Dad loved motocross from the moment he saw the movie On Any Sunday. Decided that's what he was going to do, and then realized real quick that he was too old to be a motocross star. So he became a motocross promoter, and we're all here as a result of that.
Thank goodness.
Very fateful decision based on that wonderful seminal Bruce Brown film.
On Any Sunday, holy smokes.
Yeah. Wow. And here we are 50 years later. Yeah.
1972 was a good year for our sport. The first Supercross at the Los Angeles Coliseum, the first Pro Motocross Championship, and On Any Sunday was up for an Academy Award for Best Documentary. And Jeremy McGrath was born in 1972. And Honda, Yamaha, well, Yamaha had already started, but Honda dedicated itself to joining the motocross program later than all the other teams, I might add. But, they did okay.
Yes, they did.
The initials CR were just synonymous with kids in their 10, 11, 12 years old in 72, 73. My goodness.
And Evel Knievel had to jump something that year and probably busted his ass, but that was big for us too.
Yes. Oh yeah. Kenny, I wish I knew that Evel's name was going to come up in this conversation, because some of the Halloween costumes that Kenny's had with Evel Knievel outfits. Holy
greatest,
cow.
Man. They're the greatest. Jeez.
Kenny, I have an Evel Knievel AMF bicycle. My mom managed to hide it from us after we tried to destroy it. And every Halloween, I dress up as Evel Knievel. I put on my helmet. I put on my cape. I get myself a roadie. And I ride around on Maple Avenue in between all the kids trick-or-treating in Morgantown, West Virginia. It's become my annual Halloween nod to the King of the Daredevils.
That's the
boom.
It sounds like you do the same, only probably without the actual bike.
Yeah, without the bike. And I've got 2 roadies.
Oh, because you're not on a bike.
So did Evel.
Yeah, he had a back. We had it in his cane and a backpack.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this is greatness, man.
This is. Wow.
And again, MAV TV is proud to partner up and big time this year and showing all the motos for the 2022 season, buddy.
Yeah, we've been lucky enough to be with Lucas Oil since 2009, which was the first year that MX Sports really took over the series, and we've kind of been working our way towards this. And as different things come online, like streaming, like the need to have all 4 motos live, it's hard for one network to stay on one motorsport for 4 hours. Even NASCAR has a hard time doing that. And we were very fortunate that MAV TV wanted to go all in with us on this 50th celebration. And also the MAV TV Plus streaming service is going to be fantastic. We've got a lot of riders from all over the world here, and adding them day by day with Caroli, the Lawrence brothers in Australia, Ken Roxon in Germany. There's British riders here. There's Freddie Norrens from Sweden. There's a global audience because we've got global representation in this series. And last year and years before, the stream was geo-blocked because of the way network TV works. And one of the things we told Lucas Oil and MAV TV Plus was that we didn't want any geo-blocking. We wanted everyone in the world to be able to see what these guys are doing every weekend. And so finally, to have all the motos live, all the streaming live, all over the world, it's a pretty cool way to celebrate 50. The hard part's going to be, how do we outdo it in 51?
Yes.
Oh, we'll figure something out. So we'll do it, because every year only gets better anyway.
Yeah, next year will be couples only backwards skate. Oh wait, showing my age again.
Right.
No, I'm right there with you.
Well, showing my age and your age is like was when you heard KTM and motocross and supercross, you laughed.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
You laughed at KTM, but
yeah,
now,
one of the things that I've been doing is besides just collecting all this stuff and everything, is I've been documenting the 50 years of pro motocross on RacerX Online and also promotocross.com. And it's so weird to be doing stories about the 80s and 90s when there were literally no foreign or no European bikes out there. The initial, the Makos, the old Swedish-made Husqvarnas, the Pooks, the Boltacos, the Montezas, they were all gone in the 80s and 90s. And then KTM started coming on, and to your point, it's so weird with KTM being so big now, and also having gas, and of course,
right,
Husqvarna reinvented, but they didn't win a pro motocross race in the United States until Kelly Smith in 2000, and they didn't win a premier class motocross race in America until Ryan Dungey in 2012.
Right.
It's incredible the way things have changed for that company, the full commitment that they've made. And suddenly, we went from just, the 4 Japanese brands basically to now having almost as many European brands. Of course, they're all from one place in Austria, Matikoven, but we'll take it. And I know the guys that ride for Gas and Husqvarna and KTM now, it's been a wonderful change in this last 15 years to see KTM go from a kind of, a sub brand to being a dominant brand.
Didn't
But real quick,
hold on, Crash. I know you get. Didn't KTM buy Penton?
Well, that's kind of
that's another.
What happened was, now we're going way old school.
Sorry,
John Penton, who was a entrepreneur and a really good off-road rider from Ohio, didn't want to race like BSAs and Nortons and Triumphs and whatever they were racing in America at the time. And so he went to Europe and with the idea of sort of ordering a custom-made motorcycle. He wanted to have a lightweight, low CC 2-stroke motorcycle. And after he was turned down in Sweden, after he went to, I believe, Monarch and Husqvarna, he went to Matikoven, Austria, and talked to Mr. Trunkenpolz about having his KTM factory, which built scooters and bicycles, to build him this sort of tailor-made off-road motorcycle. And the deal was that KTM would make those bikes as well. And in Europe, they'd be called KTMs. In America, they'd be called Pentons. And they were much more successful in Europe than they were in motocross in America because they were working with the Russians, the Soviet Union riders like Gennady Moiseev and Vladimir Kavanov, and over here in America they focused on woods racing instead. And when they decided to get much more proactive in the market in America, they went to Mr. Penton and said, we want to take over the motocross portion, and you can stay with Penton. But by then, Mr. Penton had gotten older. This is in the late 70s, and he decided to just, go on to something else. But if you look at a KTM today, remember that half of its roots come from Lorain, Ohio. John Penton put them in the dirt bike business.
What I tell
There you go. I know. It's amazing how you just rattle off these names.
It's my favorite thing in the world to do is to
Love it.
to study and share the history of our sport and just be at these races. I'm very fortunate that after my very, very short professional career, 3 races, after my high water mark was a 9th at the Daytona Supercross in 1985 on a KTM.
Oh, there you go.
And then I read the writing on the wall, and in real big letters it said college. But I never, so I started writing stories about racing and taking photos, and I still ride as much as I can. I don't get to race very much anymore, but I'm around it every moment of every day. When I'm not at my daughter's volleyball tournaments.
Oh,
this week I'm here at literally at the epicenter of motocross, pro motocross in America, this whole series. Last week I was charting serves at a 8th grade volleyball tournament in Columbus, Ohio.
It's a good man.
all the whistles. Oh my gosh.
Priorities.
And I take both jobs, both responsibilities equally as seriously. Love it.
You got some old bastard asking you about Penton motorcycles. My God, how far we've fallen.
Just Kenny, whatever you do, don't ask me about Mike Goodwin and Mickey Thompson, because there's not enough ink on the internet for how long that would take. And one day, I would love to write a book or help someone produce a book about that. That might be my next project.
You don't even need to know who Mickey Thompson was to dig that, to be glued to an 8-show series or a movie of that.
Oh, dude!
And after I watched the Last Dance, the lockdown and COVID, who won COVID? The Chicago Bulls. With the Last Dance, I was watching that thinking, if there were only a motocross story or a supercross story that would resonate like that has so much interesting stuff, and I'm sure I'm not alone as a journalist to circle around that very, very complex story of motorsports and from the 60s all the way through 1988 when the unfortunate climax of it all happened, and then what's come of it since. It's one of the most notorious cases in American legal history, but it's certainly the most notorious in all of motorsports history.
Bang.
I would agree. All right, that's Davey Coombs' next project. I love it. I'm already on pins and needles. Let's do.
Yeah, so Crash, get back to me in about 10 years.
Yeah.
No, 2 years.
Your daughter's
Sorry
out of
to your daughter.
Your daughter's out of college. Buddy, thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking time out. I'm jealous. Yeah,
Kenny, always a pleasure. Crash, I wish you guys were out here, and please come to a race this summer. Let me take you around and show you what the tracks really look like when you're out there on it, because as good of a job as Bondo and the producers and directors do in the TV truck, man, you have no idea till you're out on an actual motocross track just how gnarly it is. And then you'll realize just how amazing these athletes are, because what they're riding, the bike they have underneath them, and the terrain that they're confronted by, and as fast as they're going, you said earlier, Kenny, there's nothing like pro motocross. There's nothing like taking it to the great outdoors.
Bam.
I will say, just a little inside baseball here, inside motocross. We were on a conference call maybe a month or so ago with one of the executives at Lucas, and Kenny was basically begging, can I please go to at least 2 or 3 motocross? And it got to the end of it, and they were like, all right, fine, Kenny, give us your list. Where do you want to go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in any of the 12 rounds, you'll have a ball. Each event is like its own little festival, although they're not so little anymore. They're big, 4 and 5 day events. And yeah, you come out and I'll give you a guided tour, Kenny. We'll have a lot of fun.
Badass. Buddy, good luck this weekend. I'm sure we'll be talking sometime in the very near future, man.
Thank you both. I really enjoyed this. My first time getting to join you guys. When the season's over, if you want to circle back around, by all means, let me know.
Yes.
I'll brush up on some more motocross trivia and go back and correct anything I might have gotten wrong on this one.
Yeah, right. And I want an update on the Mickey Thompson series too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just glad you didn't bring up Jimmy Ellis or Marty Tripes. Don't go there.
Oh, Kenny.
I'll give you two quick things. They each have a record that people have forgotten about. With Marty Tripes, of course, he to this day is still the youngest rider ever to win an AMA Pro Motocross or Supercross event. 72 LA Coliseum. He was 16 years, 10 days old. No one is ever going to break that record. No one.
Wow.
Because you literally have to hit the ground running the moment you get your license when you're 16, and you have to win your first race. There's no way around it. The second thing, Jimmy Ellis, we talk a lot about Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart having their perfect seasons. In Ricky's case, 2 of them. But in 1975, Jimmy Ellis won all 4 rounds of the AMA Supercross Championship. It was only 4 rounds, but it was his first year of Supercross, which is
on what brand? On what manufacturer?
Oh, Can-Am, absolutely. And that remains the only North American-made motorcycle ever to win an AMA Supercross Championship. And what's funny is Jimmy, after his career ended, moved to Australia. And a couple years ago, 3 years ago, he came back for the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame because he was inducted in. And I hadn't seen Jimmy since maybe 78 when I was flagging at High Point. and when he opened his mouth, he had a complete Australian accent. He literally, I was like, man, you're from Connecticut. What happened to your voice? Because he had the full-on nor'easter Brooklyn, or not Brooklyn, Boston sort of accent. Yeah. And man, now he sounds like Crocodile Dundee. It's crazy.
One of those Australian pit lizards got him over there, man.
But both Marty Tripes and Jimmy Ellis still have a place in motocross history. No one's, the first perfect season and the youngest winner ever.
Boom. Okay, let's get out of here. That's my fault.
That's right. You've got another interview. You've got another conference call coming up.
Dang. All right, buddy. Thank you, Davey.
All right, thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Crash. Thanks, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed the races this summer. We're really looking forward to all of them. It's gonna be a great summer. A 50th year of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross.
Bam.
Here it is. Revs are up, gates down.
Your adrenaline is just maxed out. That gives me goosebumps.
It is on right now. MAV TV live coverage. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross.
The toughest competitors in the country.
Wheel to wheel over the finish. Sexton putting in a charge.
Oh.
The adrenaline's got to be 1,000% for these drivers. They have to settle into rhythm almost immediately.
Battle for the lead is on. He wins the first moto here in California.
Hudson O'Neal is now a Show Me 100 winner at Lucas Oil Speedway.